Ailey had traveled through many worlds, but this moon felt different the moment he stepped out of his small ship. The air was cool, the sky was soft purple, and the forest around him was strangely silent. He was only here for repairs. Nothing else. No missions, no danger. That was what he believed. He placed his tools on the ground and started checking the damaged engine panel. The metal still felt warm from the emergency landing. He sighed and wiped his forehead. It would take hours before the ship was safe to fly again. But then he heard it, a soft sound, like someone lightly stepping on leaves. Very slow, very careful. Eli froze. He did not move his head. He only listened. The forest remained quiet for a moment, but the feeling stayed. Someone was behind him. Someone small. He slowly turned around. At first, he saw nothing, only tall trees and soft fog. But then a pair of glowing blue eyes appeared between the branches. The eyes were watching him with fear and wonder at the same time. A young alien girl stepped out from the shadows. She looked around 14 in human years. Her skin had a gentle silver shine, her hair floated like soft mist, and she held her long fingers close to her chest, as if she was afraid to breathe too loudly. Eli raised his hands a little to show he was friendly. "It's okay," he said softly. "I'm not here to hurt you." The girl did not run. She only tilted her head, as if studying him like he was the strange creature here. Carefully she stepped closer. Her feet made almost no sound at all. Eli felt his heart beating faster. He had met many alien races, but none that looked like this. She looked delicate, almost fragile, but her eyes were full of deep intelligence. She pointed one shaking finger at him. "You are human?" she whispered. Eli nodded. "Yes, I'm human." Her eyes widened as if she had found something impossible. She looked at him from head to toe, then stepped even closer until she was only a few feet away. She whispered something he could barely hear. "So humans are real, not stories." Eli gave a small smile. "We are real, yes." The girl looked at his hands. She seemed curious about every tiny detail. She looked at his skin, his hair, his boots, even his breathing. Eli felt nervous, but also strangely calm. She did not look dangerous, only curious. Very curious. She touched her own chest gently and said, "My name is Riva." "Nice to meet you," Eli said. "I'm Ela." Riva stared at him with growing excitement. She looked like she desperately wanted to ask something, but was scared the words might be wrong. She opened her mouth, stopped, tried again, then took a slow breath. She stepped close enough that Eli felt her cool breath on his neck. Her voice trembled. "Can I ask one forbidden question?" Eli nodded slowly. "Yes, you can ask." She looked around nervously, as if afraid someone else might hear. Then she moved so close she was almost touching his shoulder. Her eyes were glowing bright now, full of fear and curiosity at the same time. Then she whispered the question that made Eli drop the tools from his hand. "Humans reproduce. How?" Eli blinked, shocked. He had expected many questions, but not this. Not from a young alien girl who looked so pure and innocent. He opened his mouth to answer, but Riva quickly grabbed his arm. "Please," she begged softly. "Tell me. I have never met a human before. I must know. I heard stories. I want to know the truth." Eli took a small step back, unsure what to say. But before he could speak, he felt something change in the air. A deep vibration moved through the ground. Riva's eyes flashed with sudden terror. She looked toward the forest, toward the mist, toward the shadows. "They found me," she whispered. Eli looked in the same direction. At first he saw nothing. Then he saw movement, shapes, 3 tall figures walking between the trees, carrying glowing staffs. Riva grabbed his hand tightly. Her silver fingers were cold and shaking. "Please, help me," she whispered. "If they take me, I will never come back." Eli stared at the approaching figures. His heart pounded. He didn't know what Riva had done. He didn't know who they were. But he knew one thing. She was afraid, and she ran to him, and now they were both in danger, and he had no idea why Eli stood frozen as the shapes moved through the fog. Riva held his hand tight, her fingers trembled. Like she was holding the last warm thing in the world. She kept looking at the shadows like they were monsters born from her. Nightmare Eli slowly pulled her behind him, even though he did not fully understand the danger. He only knew she was scared. Terrified, and that fear was enough to make him stand in front like a shield. The forest grew darker as the tall figures stepped closer. They wore long silver masks and their staffs glowed with sharp blue light. Each step they took felt heavy on the ground like they were hunting something precious or forbidden. Riva whispered softly, "They are seekers. They find anyone who asks forbidden questions. They take them away. No one returns." Eli felt a strange cold feeling in his chest, so she ran because she was curious, just curious, not a criminal, not a threat, just a girl who wanted to learn about the universe. He looked down at her. She was shaking so hard, he worried she might collapse. "I will help you," he said gently. He hoped his voice sounded braver. Then he felt Riva looked up at him with wide glowing eyes. "You would protect me, a human protecting me." Her voice cracked like she could not believe it. The seekers stopped only a few meters away. One of them raised a staff and the blue light grew brighter. A deep voice echoed through the trees. "Surrender the question, child. Surrender the human. Both must come with us." Riva took a step back, then another. Her breathing grew fast and painful. She leaned close to Eli and whispered, "Please do not let them take me. I will die before I reach their towers." Eli did not fully understand her people, but he understood fear, he understood cruelty, and he understood that someone needed help. He grabbed her hand. "Run!" They sprinted between the trees. Riva moved quickly, but she kept stumbling because her legs were shaking. Eli kept pulling her forward and guiding her through the thick mist. Behind them the seekers shouted. Their staffs fired lines of blue energy that snapped through the air like lightning. A blast hit a tree beside them. The tree exploded into bright dust. Riva cried out and stumbled. Eli lifted her up without thinking. Her small form was light in his arms. He held her close and ran as fast as he could through the twisting forest. The ground trembled under his feet. He could feel the heat of the seekers' energy blasts. He kept running until the forest opened into a wide field of glowing white grass. In the middle of the field stood Ella's ship, damaged, smoking, barely alive inside. "We will hide inside," he said. Riva looked at the ship, and her eyes filled with doubt. "Your machine is broken. It cannot protect us." Eli did not stop. He carried her inside and sealed the door behind them. The inside lights flickered weakly. The walls were cracked. Sparks jumped from broken wires, but it was still shelter. Riva slid down to the floor. Her breath came in fast gasps. She held her chest like her heart was breaking. "They will break the ship. They always get what they want. No one escapes the seekers." Eli knelt in front of her. "Riva, look at me." She slowly lifted her head. Her eyes shimmered with fear and confusion. Eli spoke with steady, calm strength. "I do not know your world. I do not know your rules. But I know this, you are not alone, not while I am here." Riva blinked. A single glow tear fell down her cheek. "No one ever said that to me." Sudden heavy strike hit the outside of the ship. The whole vessel shook. Metal groaned like it would break apart. Riva gasped and held his arm again. The seekers were outside. Their shadows moved past the small windows like cold giants. Another strike shook the ship. The alarms screamed loudly. Eli looked around desperately for anything that could save them. Then Riva spoke. "There is a hidden tunnel below the old roots behind your ship. It leads deep underground. But the way is dark, trapped, dangerous." Eli listened to the pounding on the hull. He listened to the metal bending. He listened to Riva's shaking breath. Then he made his choice. "Show me the tunnel." Eli followed Riva out of the damaged ship as the metal walls shook again from the seekers' attacks. Smoke drifted across the clearing, and the glowing grass waved like it sensed danger coming. Riva pointed toward a cluster of huge twisted roots that rose from the ground like frozen waves. Her voice shook with fear. but she tried to stand strong. The tunnel is under there. Please hurry. Eli reached the roots and pushed aside the thick vines. They slid away, revealing a dark, narrow opening leading into the earth. Cold air rushed upward, carrying the smell of old stone and deep places untouched by light. Riva hesitated at the edge. Her body trembled. I never wanted to use this path. It is a cursed place, but it is safer than the Seekers. A heavy blast struck the ship behind them, and the whole clearing flashed with blue light. Eli grabbed her hand without thinking. We have no choice. Go. Riva nodded and crawled into the opening. Eli followed close behind. The roots twisted overhead like giant fingers. The narrow passage forced them to move on hands and knees. The ground was damp, and the air grew colder with every breath above them. The muffled voices of the Seekers echoed through the forest. They are near, Eli whispered. Riva nodded. Her glowing eyes reflected the faint light from the tunnel walls. The Seekers always know where to look. They smell fear. They follow it like hunters. Tunnel sloped downward and widened enough for them to stand. Ancient marks covered the stone walls. Riva brushed her fingers across them. Her touch made the symbols glow faint blue. These are warnings. Our ancestors built tunnels like this to hide secrets, forbidden secrets. Seeley felt a shiver travel down his spine. What kind of secrets? Riva lowered her head. The secrets of our dying people. Things they fear. Things they refuse to accept. A loud crack echoed from behind. The Seekers had found the hidden entrance. Their masked voices called into the darkness. You cannot run. Question. Child, surrender. The human. He is valuable to us. Riva grabbed Eli's hand tightly. Her voice broke. They want you alive. They want to take your knowledge. They will tear your mind apart to learn your truth. Eli looked into her scared, glowing eyes. Then he looked at the dark tunnel stretching deeper. We keep moving together. They hurried down the tunnel. Their footsteps splashed through shallow pools of water. The air became colder. The walls glowed softly from the ancient symbols. The sound of the Seekers grew louder. Their steps were slow and sure, like they enjoyed the hunt. Riva breathed fast and shallow. Every sound made her flinch. Their masks. They hold strange senses. They hear everything. They see heat and fear. Eli placed a hand on her shoulder. Stay close. I will guide you. They reached a wide cavern with a high ceiling. In the center stood a broken stone platform surrounded by ancient machines. Some were shaped like tall pillars, others like curved mirrors. All were silent, covered in dust. Riva stared with awe. This place, I did not know it was here. These machines are older than my world. They were built before our people lost their ability to create life. Before everything changed. Eli stepped toward one of the mirrors. His reflection appeared distorted. The machine hummed softly as if waking from a long sleep. Riva suddenly grabbed his arm. Do not touch it. Some of these are dangerous. They react to emotion, to curiosity, to desire. Before he could ask more, a sharp metallic sound echoed from the tunnel. Behind them, the Seekers were close. Their blue lights reflected on the cavern walls. Riva backed away, shaking. Eli stood in front of her again, instinctively protecting her. Hunters entered the cavern one by one. Their glowing staffs raised, their masks shining like cold stars. One of them pointed at Riva. You cannot ask forbidden questions. Knowledge leads to ruin. You will be taken for correction. Another pointed at Eli. The human must come with us. His body holds answers. His mind holds power. Eli stepped back toward Riva. She clung to his arm, her voice soft and broken. They will take you. They will destroy you. Please do not let them. The Seekers moved closer. Their steps slow, certain, deadly. Eli looked at Riva. Then he looked at the silent ancient machines. Then he made a choice that would change everything. Run behind the platform. There must be another exit. Riva stared at him. But you go. She ran. Her glowing eyes full of fear and trust. Eli turned to face the Seekers alone, with no plan, only one promise: he would not let them take her. Riva ran behind the broken stone platform, her heart pounding like drums inside her chest. The cavern felt too wide, too cold, too full of ancient memories. She could hear the Seekers' voices echo as they moved toward Eli. She glanced back through the shadows. Eli stood alone facing three masked hunters who carried glowing staffs and cold intentions. He looked small compared to them, yet he did not shake, not even once. Riva pressed herself against the old stone wall. Her hands trembled. She wanted to scream his name, but even a breath too loud would draw the seekers toward her. She could not let that happen. She could not lose him, not the one person who did not run from her curiosity. Ely raised his hands slowly, his voice calm. He stepped back inch by inch as the seekers spread out. Their blue lights lit the cavern like silent fire. Leader spoke human. You stand in a sacred place you do not belong. Riva could not see Eli's face clearly, but she heard the strength in his reply. I will not go with you. Seekers moved forward. The air grew colder. Riva placed her hand against the wall. The ancient symbols under her fingers suddenly glowed bright white. The wall trembled. A soft melody hummed through the stone like a heartbeat. Waking from a long sleep, Riva gasped. She whispered, the Chamber of Origins. I did not know it was real. A line of white light ran across the stones. The wall opened slowly, revealing another room, a hidden chamber filled with floating crystals and strange devices shaped like spirals and rings. Soft white fog drifted around them. Riva stepped inside. The air felt warm and alive. She could feel energy around her like gentle hands touching her skin. This chamber holds the truth of my people, the truth they fear. Behind her she heard Ely shout, Riva, get back. She turned. One seeker had fired his staff. A burst of blue energy flashed through the cavern. Ely ducked behind an ancient pillar. The blast shattered stone, sending dust and sharp fragments across the floor. Riva wanted to run to him, but something inside the chamber called her, pulled her. She stepped closer to one of the floating crystals. It glowed brighter as she approached. Then her mind filled with images. She saw her people long ago, healthy, strong, joyful children running through fields, families building homes, laughing. Then she saw darkness, illness, silence. Her people losing the ability to create new life. Fear rising across their world, leaders hiding the truth, hiding the machines that could save them, hiding the knowledge. Her knees weakened. Tears fell from her shining eyes. Her voice trembled. They lied to us. They erased our past. They killed our future. In the cavern, Ely fought to stay alive. A seeker swung his staff, sending waves of energy toward him. Ely rolled behind the platform. He grabbed a broken piece of metal from the ground. It was not a weapon, but he held it like one. The leader spoke again. Human surrender. You cannot protect the question, child. The fate of our people does not concern you, Ely shouted back. Her life concerns me. That is enough. The seekers advanced inside the chamber. Riva touched the largest crystal. The moment her fingers met its warm surface, the entire chamber brightened. The fog swirled. The machines hummed. The air vibrated like it carried 1,000 voices. She heard whispers, ancient voices of her ancestors. They spoke of hope, of life, of a key, a small diamond-shaped crystal on a pedestal. It glowed with soft golden light. Riva stepped toward it, her hands shaking. This is the heart crystal, the final key to unlocking the machines that could restore life to her people. A sudden crash made her jump. Ely staggered into the chamber, his breathing hard. His shirt torn, dust covered his face. Riva reached for him. Ely, he held out his hand. We have to go. They are coming. But Riva pointed to the heart crystal. This is why they hunt me. This truth, this power, this hope that they fear. Ely looked at the crystal, and then at Riva. Then he heard the sound of footsteps. The seekers were entering the chamber. Riva stepped closer to Ely, her voice firm for the first time. If they take us, this crystal will be lost forever, and my people will die, all of them. Ely met her eyes. Her fear was gone, replaced by courage, soft, bright courage. He took her hand. Then take it and run. Before she could move, the chamber lights turned red. The machines began to shake. The entrance behind them started closing. The seekers rushed forward, their masks glowing. Ely pulled Riva toward the crystal, danger exploding all around them, and the chamber began to collapse. The chamber shook like the heart of the earth was roaring beneath their feet. Red light washed over the floating crystals, making their shadows dance across the walls like living flames. Riva clutched Eli's arm as dust fell from the ceiling. The Seekers stormed in their glowing staffs, raised their masks shining with cold hunger. Eli pushed Riva behind him, even though he knew it was useless against their power. The Seekers stepped closer, their footsteps shaking the floor. One of them pointed directly at Eli. "Take the human alive. He holds answers. He must be preserved." Eli felt a chill move through him. Riva grabbed his hand, her voice sharp with fear. "They want you more than they want me. Please, we must escape now." But the entrance behind them was closing, the heavy stone slabs grinding together with a deep rumbling sound. A trap, a prison. The Seekers had planned this. Riva turned toward the heart crystal. Its golden glow brightened as if sensing her fear. She reached out, but a beam of blue energy struck the ground near her feet. She jumped back. The Seekers advanced even faster. Eli looked around the collapsing chamber. Ancient machines hummed, crystals flickered. The air shook with pressure. He made a fast decision. Not smart, not safe, but the only choice. He grabbed an old broken panel from the floor and swung it at the nearest Seeker. The impact made a loud ringing sound, and the Seekers stumbled backward. The others turned their glowing masks toward Eli. Riva gasped, "You cannot fight them. You will die." Eli didn't answer. He only positioned himself between Riva and the Seekers, his breathing heavy, his legs shaking, but his eyes steady. One Seeker raised his staff. A blue beam shot toward Eli. Riva screamed. Eli jumped to the side. The beam hit an ancient machine behind him. The machine sparked and exploded into bright white light. Blast knocked them all to the ground. The chamber moaned like it was alive and suffering. Cracks spread across the ceiling. Riva crawled toward Eli. He was coughing, but alive. "You cannot fight them," she whispered, her voice shaking. "You are human. They are trained from childhood. You cannot win." Eli wiped dust from his face. "Maybe not, but I can give you a chance. Now grab the crystal." Riva's hands trembled as she stood. She stepped toward the heart crystal. Its glow warmed her palms like gentle sunlight. She lifted it carefully. The moment she touched it fully, the entire chamber reacted. The symbols on the walls glowed gold. Machines hummed. Air shifted like it carried power. The Seekers shouted, "Stop her! Do not let her take it!" Blue beams shot across the room. Riva ducked behind a large stone device as energy blasts struck its surface. Eli stood again, using the broken panel as a shield. He blocked one blast. The panel heated in his hands. Pain shot through his arms, but he held on. The leader Seeker raised his staff. "Capture the human. Kill the girl if needed. The crystal must not leave this chamber." Riva's breath stopped. The words stabbed through her like ice. "Kill the girl." Forbidden's questions were sin in their eyes, and she was the biggest sin of all. Eli heard it too. He shouted, "Run, Riva, run!" The chamber's ceiling cracked again. Stones fell, dust filled the air. Riva clutched the crystal to her chest. She looked around for any escape. Then she saw it, a narrow slit forming between two stone pillars. A secondary exit, almost invisible, almost forgotten. She called out, "Eli, here, there is another way." He looked back at her. Then, at the Seekers rushing toward him, he sprinted across the chamber, half running, half sliding as the floor shook beneath him. Beams flew past his legs. One grazed his arm. He hissed in pain but did not stop. Riva reached for him. Their hands met just as another explosion rocked the chamber. The secondary exit opened wider, a dark tunnel beyond it, the only hope. But the Seekers were right behind them, their blue lights growing brighter, their steps faster, their voices rising. Riva pulled Eli toward the tunnel. "Hurry, hurry, they are almost on us." Eli grabbed her shoulder. "Go first, I will follow you. Do not look back." Riva stared at him, her glowing eyes wide with fear and trust. Then she stepped into the darkness of the tunnel, holding the heart crystal tightly. Eli turned around for one last look. The Seekers lunged forward. The chamber cracked open with violent tremors, and the tunnel began to collapse behind them. He ran into the dark, with the hunters only seconds away. The tunnel shook behind them, like a living beast trying to swallow everything inside. Riva ran through the darkness, her glowing eyes lighting the narrow path. She held the heart crystal tight against her chest, feeling its warmth pulse like a heartbeat. Eli followed close behind, stumbling as rocks fell from the ceiling. Every sound felt louder in the tight space. The echo of falling stones, the rumbling of ancient walls, the distant metallic footsteps of seekers forcing their way through the collapsing chamber. Riva looked back. Eli was covered in dust, his arm burned from earlier blasts, his breath heavy. But he kept running, kept fighting, kept choosing her. She whispered, "Please hold on, we are almost safe." But her voice cracked because she did not believe her own words. The tunnel opened into a long underground hall. Tall stone pillars lined the sides. Dim white lights glowed inside the walls like sleeping fireflies. Ancient machines lay broken, scattered across the floor like bones of forgotten giants. Riva slowed down, her legs shaking. Eli reached her side, his voice rough. "Are you hurt?" Riva shook her head, but she held her chest tightly. Her heart felt heavy. She turned slowly, taking in the massive hall. "This place, my ancestors called it the Hall of Beginnings. No one alive has seen it." Eli stepped closer. "What is it?" Riva placed the crystal on a stone pedestal. The hall brightened, warm golden light filled the space. Machines awakened, soft humming, echoed like distant singing. She whispered, "This hall holds the first machine that gave life to my people. Before we lost everything, before fear took over our minds." Eli watched the golden light dance across her silver skin. She looked like she belonged to the ancient world around them, a living piece of history. He stepped closer. "What does the crystal do?" Riva pointed at a tall machine, shaped like a rising sun. "The heart crystal powers it. If awakened fully, it can heal the roots of my people. It can restore life. It can give us children again." Eli looked at her, his voice low. "Then we must use it." Riva's expression darkened. "There's a cost. Every great machine needs balance. It gives life, but demands something in return. A life force, a mind, a soul." Eli frowned. "What do you mean?" Riva touched the machine. A panel lit up. Symbols glowed, ancient letters formed. She read them quietly, her voice trembling. "One must give their breath, their strength, their life to awaken the machine fully." Eli stared at her. "You mean sacrifice?" Riva nodded. "Yes." And she looked at the crystal, her glowing eyes filled with tears. "If the seekers take this crystal, my people will die, all of them. But if I use it, I will." She could not finish. Eli stepped closer. He placed his hand on her shoulder. "No, I will not let you give your life. There must be another way." Riva shook her head. Her tears fell like glowing stars. "You helped me. You protected me when no one else did. I cannot let you die. I cannot let you pay for my people." The ground shook again. Dust fell from the ceiling. The sound of seekers ran in the distance, their voices cold, their steps steady. They were getting closer. Riva wiped her tears. She stepped toward the machine, her legs weak, her heart breaking. She whispered, "I must save them. Even if it means losing everything, even if it means leaving you." Eli grabbed her arm, his voice sharp. "No, I am not losing you. We will find another way." Riva looked at him with soft, broken courage. Her glowing hand touched his cheek. "Your way is kindness. My way is duty. You have a future, I do not." She pulled away. She placed the crystal inside the machine. Golden light rushed across the hall. The machine rose, its core spinning, its hum deepening. Eli reached for her. Riva stopped. The machine shone brighter. Symbols lit up across the walls, a beam of golden energy wrapped around Riva, pulling her toward the center. Eli rushed forward, but the force threw him backward. He hit the ground hard. Pain shot through his body. Riva stood inside the golden light. Her eyes shone with fear and love. Her voice echoed through the hall. "Eli, thank you for showing me courage, for letting me ask questions, for treating me like a person, not a curse." Eli struggled to stand. He pushed against the invisible pressure, his hands shaking, his voice breaking. "Riva, please do not leave me." But the seekers burst into the hall, their masks glowing blue, their staffs raised, shouting orders. Eli turned and saw one truth: if the seekers reached Riva, she would die. If the machine finished, she might die. If he did nothing, both futures died together. He faced the Seekers, his body weak, his breath ragged, but his voice strong. You want me alive? Then come and take me. The golden light wrapped around Riva like a living sun, pulling her deeper into the heart of the ancient machine. Her silver hair floated upward as if caught in a warm, gentle wind. Her glowing eyes were full of fear, sorrow, and something soft that looked like hope and goodbye mixed together. Eli pushed against the invisible force again. His muscles burned, his arms shook, but he refused to stop. Riva was fading into the light, and the Seekers were closing in behind him with cold, steady steps. Leader Seeker raised his staff. Take the human. Stop the girl. Destroy the crystal. Eli turned his head toward them, his eyes fierce, his voice raw. You will not touch her. He charged forward, not with strength, not with weapons, but with something the Seekers had never faced: human determination. He grabbed the broken metal panel again. He swung it with all his remaining strength. The impact smashed into the staff of the nearest Seeker. Blue sparks exploded. The Seeker stumbled. Another beam shot toward Eli. He ducked. The beam hit the ceiling. Stone fell. Dust filled the air. Eli rushed forward again. He fought like a man, protecting the only life that mattered, the only friend he had in this lonely world, the only person who looked at him with trust instead of fear. Behind him, Riva heard every breath he took, every struggle, every cry. Her heart twisted. She whispered through the golden light, Eli, please stop. Please do not die for me. But Eli did not stop, because losing her was worse than death. The machine grew brighter, its core spinning faster. Symbols on the walls pulsed like a heartbeat. The hall trembled as ancient power awakened. Riva felt her strength fade. Her legs weakened. The golden energy pulled her deeper. She knew it was taking her life. Little by little, breath by breath, Eli saw her collapsing, and something inside him broke open. A force stronger than fear or pain. He shouted with everything inside him, Riva, fight it. Do not give yourself. Do not give up your life. Riva looked at him, her eyes full of tears that glowed like tiny stars. My people need life. I need to give something. This is my duty. Eli shook his head. His voice cracked. Your life is not a sacrifice. Your life is a future. Your life is hope. The Seekers growled, their staffs raised again, but the hall suddenly glowed brighter. The golden light pushed outward. A shockwave knocked the Seekers backward. Their masks cracked. Their staffs flickered. Riva gasped. The machine is reacting. It feels conflict. It is confused. It needs peace. It needs balance. Eli stepped closer. Despite the pressure that tried to crush him, he reached toward her, his hand trembling. Riva, you asked me a question. The first question you ever spoke to me. How humans create life. I will answer it now. Riva looked at him, her voice barely a whisper. Eli, please. Why now? Because he said gently, life begins with connection, with two people protecting each other, with two hearts choosing each other, with care, with trust, with love. The golden light flickered. The machine hummed differently, as if it heard his words. Eli stepped closer again, his voice steady. Life is not forced, not taken, not stolen. Life is given, shared, chosen. Riva felt something warm in her chest, soft, painful, beautiful. Her tears glowed brighter. She understood his meaning. More than words, more than explanation. She whispered, Eli, I choose life, not sacrifice life. The machine reacted instantly. The golden light calmed. The pulling force weakened. The energy around her shifted. It no longer tried to take her life. It tried to hold her, heal her, protect her. The heart crystal blazed with bright gold. Its light filled the entire hall. The Seekers screamed as their masks shattered. Their staffs exploded into pieces. They fell to their knees, overwhelmed by the ancient power. Riva fell forward. Eli caught her before she touched the ground. She collapsed into his arms, weak, breathing softly, but alive. The machine slowed, then released one final wave of warm light through the hall. A whisper echoed from the ancient symbols. Life restored. Riva looked up at Eli, her voice soft. You saved me. You saved my people. But You answered my question in a different way. Eli smiled, tired but warm. He brushed her silver hair from her face. Humans create life by choosing to care for one another, by fighting for each other, by loving. Life begins in the heart, not in the machine. Riva smiled weakly, her eyes glowing with a new kind of light. For the first time she felt what it meant to live, to choose, to hope. She whispered, "Ele, can I stay with you, to learn more, to live more?" Ele held her close, his voice gentle. "Yes, Riva, stay with me, as long as the stars shine." Hall quieted, the seekers fled. The machine rested, and together, hand in hand, they walked toward a future filled with life, choice, and hope.